Hello and welcome back. Hey, it's Dalek time.
This is the year 2150.
Look!
Daleks are the masters of Earth. Exterminate!
We must find out their weakness.
We'll show them who the masters are.
Nothing can stop us now!
Yes, welcome back. Right, well, I'm going to be taking a look today at the second of the Doctor Who 1960s Aru production films, starring Peter Cushing as Doctor Who. It's Daleks Invasion of Earth. As you can see, I've had my review test disc and the press release that accompanies it. This is released on physical media for you to pick up in a lovely, lavish box set. Comes out on the 10th of July. I'll put a picture of the actual set of it. Beautiful looking thing. As a reviewer, you just get the bare disc. You don't get the extra bits and pieces. But I've got the 4K disc, and yeah, this looks fantastic. I mean, I'm a huge fan of this film. I do like those 1960s Doctor Who films, as I think I mentioned in the previous video that I recorded for the last film. I've just got a very soft spot for them. They're the films that I've seen more than any other film, if I'm honest. And I just have a great time with them. They're short, sharp, to the point. They're unpretentious. They're fantastically colourful. They really make the best use of Technicolor. And these new 4K transfers really bring that out. They really exploit that sort of Technicolor power of these films. Daleks Invasion of Earth is my favourite of the two films. The first, Doctor Who the Daleks, has that sort of fantastical outer space feel to it. But this is much grittier and grimmer. And although it's a children's film from the 60s, you're not meant to think of it in that way. It's still, bearing in mind it was made 20 years after the end of World War II, I can imagine there are people in the audience that would evoke memories of wartime Britain and the Blitz and being under siege from the Nazi threat. And even though this is not that sort of film, it can't help but evoke that, because the Daleks, of course, were always that great ultimate symbol of modern day Nazism, exterminating this race that just wants to dominate over everything and everyone else. Quite strong and powerful themes. And of course the film is full of these scenes of a devastated London, flattened buildings, the familiar skyline, the city under siege from these creatures. It sort of takes it a step onwards from the threat that we had in World War II, where the Nazis never encroached into UK British territory. But you see, as I say, that damage of the city that's been under attack. And I think it must have brought back memories of that time. And it does, I know, very consciously, I think. I know that's what Terry Nation had in mind when he wrote the original Dalek stories, that they were very much a symbol of Nazism. But beyond that, this is just a great fun adventure film. The story, of course, features Doctor Who, played by Peter Cushing, who's not to be confused with the Doctor I've seen on TV in any of his incarnations. He's created this time and space machine inside the shell of an old police box, with his granddaughter Susan, played by Roberta Tovey, and in this film a new character, Louise, played by Jill Curson. It's a fairly thankless role, unfortunately, and a stray policeman that they find on the way, Tom Campbell, played brilliantly by Bernard Cribbins. They find themselves travelling to the 25th century, which has been dominated by the Daleks, who want to excavate the core of the planet to turn it into a spaceship they can pilot around the universe to conquer other planets. It's a ludicrous, far-fetched, silly science fiction idea, but this from Doctor Who in the 60s. What do you expect? Based on the serial by Terry Nation, the second serial of the second season of Doctor Who. It aired towards the end of 64. And the first two Dalek stories were used as the sort of the baseline for these films, which told the same story in a slightly different way. It's just a great fun film. It's full of action. It just gets on with it. There's even today, I think it looks very spectacular. Bearing in mind it was made on a budget of like £250,000. And it's just great fun. The Daleks look great. I mean, it's the first time that most people had ever seen the Daleks in colour in these films. And they look beautiful in their sort of... I like particularly in this film, that sort of livery that they have, the blue and grey of the soldier or the drone Daleks patrolling the streets. And then you get the black Dalek leader and the red Dalek. It's great. The Daleks are just a design classic, and it's hard to go wrong. Unless we're talking about those paradigm things from years ago, but let's not talk about that. But the Daleks en masse always look great. And of course, this is pre-CGI, so these are actual physical props that are dotted around the place. And they look numerous, they look great, and they look genuinely threatening, patrolling the streets of London, wiping out the survivors of London. What does the film look like, you want to know, if you want that 4K upgrade? Well, as with the last video, I'm not going to go into technicalities of it because that's not my area of expertise. All I can say is I sat down and put the disc on my 4K TV. I've got a 59-inch TV, I think, and it's the best I've seen it since I saw it in the cinema years ago. And the colours just leap out the screen. It looks vibrant. It is, as I say, super colourful. The colours are sharp. They prick accurate. It pops out of the screen. It looks beautiful. Technically, I know they've gone back to the original film stock that the film was made on and remastered it from there and tidied up any little errors and things. Sound has been beautifully balanced and mastered by Mark Ayres. I believe it does a lot of work on the Doctor Who stuff. So, I mean, they've really, Studio Canal have really gone to town on making this look as good as it can possibly look. I don't think it can ever look better. This is the ultimate presentation of these really charming 1960s period piece adventure films. In terms of special features, the only new thing on this particular one is a little featurette, 50-minute thing directed by Marcus Hearn, who's the editor of Doctor Who magazine, which basically, as in the first one, has a few talking heads talking about the legacy of the film and what it meant to them at the time. So you've got your Nicholas Briggs, Robert Shearman, you've got Emily Cook, who writes for Doctor Who magazine, and she's talking about watching the film in a modern perspective, which is quite interesting. So, and you've got all the usual stuff, Dalek Mania, all the features that have appeared on previous releases are here, present and correct again. And it's nice to have them in this Ultimate Collection. Of course, if you go for the 50 quid box set, you get the posters and the art cards and the badge and all these other bits and pieces. So it's a beautiful presentation. There's also a cheaper edition, which I think has just got the Blu-ray and the DVD. I think it was about 25 quid. So depending on how your budget is, you'll want to go for one or the other. It's a great set, highly recommended. A lot of people, modern Doctor Who fans, might look at these things and think these are terrible, really straightforward, bland adventures. But you've got to remember that these films came out 50 years ago. And for people who saw them at the time, people like me, they're just massive, massive nostalgia fixes. For that alone, I give this film a great big 10 out of 10 because it just has a special place in my heart and just brings back memories of seeing the Daleks when this film was on TV in the 70s, numerous cinema visits to see it. And in fact, I'm probably going to go and see it. Both films are screened, getting a screening. I think it's on the 9th of July. I'm planning to catch one of those because why not? So that's Daleks Invasion of Earth, which is up next month on 4K from Studio Canal, this lavish box set, or the cheaper 2-disc 4K and Blu-ray if your budget won't stretch to the biggie. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I can't go into the technicalities of HDR sound and all the details, but that's not my area. All I can tell you is that as a layman, it looks brilliant, and so does Doctor Who the Daleks. So pick them both up. Why don't you? Right, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I should be back soon with some more content. Until I am, keep checking the stuff.
Exterminate!